Hello, welcome back to Beauty Bee and to a product review video. I don't tend to do these very often because I don't want to be a review channel. I don't want to be bringing in enough makeup that I can review a product or two every week. That sounds overwhelming to me personally. However, when I do buy things, I like to give people my thoughts on them and hopefully they are helpful to others. So what I'm reviewing today is the Profusion Glam palette. I believe this was their holiday release for 2020. It is a 9-pan palette. It has a really big mirror that I would show you, except that would blind you. It has some neutrals as well as some colorful shimmers. Overall, the Too Long Didn't Watch version, the lighter shimmers are exceptional. Absolutely stunning, beautiful. The darker shimmers go on nicely, however I find that they fade to brown throughout the day. Not super impressed with them. And the mattes are nice. They perform well. They're nothing too groundbreaking. I certainly have formulas that I prefer, however, they do get the job done. Let's go over some quick stats. This palette is $12. I got it for $6 at Walgreens about a month to a month and a half ago. It was certainly before Christmas by at least a week or two. And I believe that it was already on clearance. The eyeshadows are actually pretty big. I had assumed when I bought this that they would be the same size as, let's say, a ColourPop 9-pan. But no, these are actually quite big shadows. They are, let's see, I worked this out, 2.2 grams a piece, roughly. I wanted to compare the size of these shadows to a quarter, but I couldn't find one. However, on the plus side, I did find 3 missing black hair ties in my bag, so that is a huge score for me. Now, compared to a nickel, they're clearly bigger, and I think you can see, if you're familiar with American currency, that they would be bigger than a quarter as well. They're good size shadows. You get quite a bit of product. I have no worries about running out of any of these shades anytime soon. And I think you can tell that I've actually used especially these 2 lighter shimmers quite a bit. So now let's do some swatches. I'm going to start with Superstar, which is a light gold with a little bit of green to it. That shade. Now for Classic, which is a light beige matte. I find that this one, at least on my skin, looks darker on the eye and in a swatch than it does in the palette. Next up we have Recharge, which is probably my favorite shade in the entire palette. This is a rose gold that definitely is more on the rose side of rose gold. It's very pretty. I think that these 2 shades are probably the real standouts of the palette for me. Next up, we have Nimbus, which is a olive green shimmer. I think that this looks a little bit more brown in the swatch than it does in the pan, and I find that this does fade a little bit to more of a brownish color over the course of the day. It still has its sheen and it still is around, but it's almost like it loses the olive and just becomes more and more brown the longer you wear it. Zenith is a very yellow gold shimmer. Here's that. That is most of what I'm wearing today. It is a really beautiful formula and I think it's gorgeous. Next up we have Topaz, which is an orange shimmer. Now this is just not my type of color. However, it is very pretty. The formula is good. It performs well. It is definitely comparable to Zenith, Superstar, and Recharge as far as formula goes. I'm just not into orange. Next up, we have Regime, which is a shimmery purple. Again, swatches beautifully. However, like with Nimbus, I noticed that this turns brown over the course of the day. Very strange. Rich is a matte brown. I think you can kind of see that the mattes are just not as impressive as the shimmers in this palette. This is just a hair on the patchy side. It's not bad, it's super workable, but it's just nothing incredible. And finally, we have Noir, which is a matte black. This is not the darkest black, but I do find it pretty easy to work with, and I am wearing quite a bit of this today, as you can likely tell. It's what I'm using as liner, and I find it a really nice consistency to use as liner because it's not crazy pigmented. I don't feel like it's going out of control ever. I have filmed 2 looks with this palette. The first one that I'm going to show is what I'm wearing today. In this look, I have used Zenith all over the lid. I first patted it on with my finger, and I think you can see it is really impressive pigmentation just at the first swipe. I then built it up in my inner corner and then on my lower lash line using a smudger brush, and yeah, it applies well with a brush too. Overall, these really light shimmers are just stunning, and I think that they are the main selling point of this palette. I then used Topaz, the orange shade, to blend out my crease. I used this on a crease brush, and I didn't really want a ton of color payoff. I just wanted a little sheen of orange to catch the light every once in a while, and I think it did really well with that. I just wanted a little sheen of orange to come off every once in a while. I just wanted a little sheen of orange to catch the light every once in a while, and I think that Topaz did a great job on that. Finally, I lined my eyes, both top and bottom lashes, with Noir on a liner brush. Overall, the effect that I wanted with this look was some bright color and really bringing attention and opening up my eyes. I wanted them to be very much the dominant feature of my face, and I think that I accomplished that. The second look that I filmed was definitely more neutral. With this, I focused in on Recharge and Superstar. I put Recharge over most of my lid and Superstar in my inner corner. I then buffed out my crease a little bit with a mixture of classic and rich, and I used Regime both in my outer corner as well as on my lower lash line. This was the look where I really noticed the fading throughout the day with the dark shades. I had noticed it previously when using Nimbus, which I'm now realizing that I did not use in any of these looks. Sorry, I have used it in the past. It performs the same way as Regime. I did notice that Regime faded quite a bit to brown over the probably 10 or 11 hours that I wore this makeup. I think that if you had one palette, this might be a really good option. You've got your neutrals, you've got a little bit of color. Let me know if you are deeper skinned than me and have enjoyed this. I think there is enough pigment to all of these shades that they would probably show up pretty nicely even on deeper skin tones. However, I think you might be lacking some good transition shades. I mean, Classic is definitely deeper than it looks in the pan. However, it's definitely not deep. And I don't think that Rich would necessarily be dark enough for a lot of people. However, if you are lighter, or if someone in the comments below has shared their experience on it with this palette on deeper skin tones, I think it is a nice little buy. Now, with my medium-sized collection, does this offer anything incredibly different? Not really. I did not have a shade like this orange, and certainly this yellow, it is better performing than the other yellow golds because I'm an insane person who apparently has 2 other yellow golds, but otherwise I did have things that were pretty similar. This probably didn't add a ton of value to my collection, but A, I wanted to try out Profusion. I've heard good things about them over the years. B, I thought these colors were pretty, especially this row really drew me in. And C, I am actually quite happy to have this. These 2 light shimmers in particular have gotten a ton of use from me, and I think they will continue to get a lot of use from me going forward. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and or that this was helpful, and I hope you'll consider liking and subscribing if it was. Thanks again for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!